Have you ever been at a quilt shop before and seen applique pieces, very intricate applique pieces that say that they're laser cut? Well, today I am going to show you how you can create laser cut applique pieces at home with a tabletop laser cutter from xTool. If that's something you're interested in, please stick around. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miriam and I talk about all kinds of sewing and quilting related things here on YouTube. And today I am really excited to show you what I have. xTool was generous enough to send me one of their laser cutters. And today I'm going to show you how I used that to create some really cool applique box I will be able to use for various projects. Let's just jump right into it. I'm super excited to tell you all about this laser cutter and how you can use it as a quilter. So this is the beautiful laser cutter that xTool sent me. This is their S1 enclosed laser cutter. So I was sent the 20 watt diode laser, which I will pull out so you can see it. So this is the actual laser that does all of our designs. So before I actually show you how I made my applique pieces, I kind of want to go over some of the features that I really like about this machine. Like I said, this is the S1. I got the 20 watt laser. You can also get, there's a 10 watt laser, there's a 40 watt, and then they also have an infrared where you can actually etch into metals, which is really neat. There's several different interchangeable laser heads that you can get for the machine, which is really cool. That's something that I think is really neat. So before I show you what this cutter can actually do, let me kind of go over some of the features that I really like about it. These are all my own opinions. I'm not being paid to say any of this. They did send me this machine to test out and try, but these are all my own opinions, okay? First of all, the first thing that was really on my mind when they said that they would send me one, I was concerned about, well, two things. Really, I was concerned about ease of use because I am a complete beginner. I've never used a laser cutter before. I've never researched them. It's just not something that I thought that I would ever be able to use or have space for. But as you know, I just purchased a shed recently, a large shed. So I'm going to have space for these larger pieces of machinery. And this is something that I'm going to have space for now. Let's address the ease of use first, okay? This is a fantastic beginner-friendly machine. I was able to take this out of the box and get it all set up in about 30 minutes. It was very easy. It was packaged very well, really easy to set up. It comes with this user manual that is super easy to follow. They literally have everything broken down with little pictures. I'm a visual learner, so I really appreciate that everything is broken down into steps in picture form to show you how to get everything set up properly. So I really appreciated that. So that's very beginner friendly, very nice. Their website also has all kinds of guides and tips and tricks and all kinds of stuff. So they really take care of their customers. So you don't just kind of just get the laser cutter and then just, well, good luck figuring it out. So I really, really like that. Something also that's really cool, kind of along those lines, is they actually have a private Facebook group that you can join. And there's like, I think there's like 20,000 people in that Facebook group. And it's all people that have this or a similar cutter from xTool. And they have years of experience. And everyone is so willing and ready to help. You know, you go through and people are asking questions and they've got 30 plus replies with suggestions and help. So I think that's really, really neat and very unique for something like this. Very easy to use. Along those lines, also the software that goes with this machine is, first, it's free to use. If you purchase their machine, you can use their software. And that software is also beginner friendly. So if you're not super computer savvy, that's okay. You just connect your computer and your laser cutter via, you can connect it via Wi-Fi or you can do it with a cable. I'm using the cable because they recommend doing that instead of Wi-Fi. So I used the cable and it was just super seamless to get them connected. And then the software is very intuitive, easy to figure out. You just kind of click around, play around in there for like a half hour, learn what everything is, and then you're good to go. And again, they have guides for how to use the software. So it's really, really nice. If you have ever used Cricut or Silhouette software for the rotary cutting machines, this software is very similar, but I like this software better. So, and there's so many features in the software. I mean, I could do an entire video on the software, but we're not going to do that. You need different settings for different materials that you use, and they have presets for like 300 plus materials, which is really cool. So the second thing that was very, very important to me was the safety aspect of a laser cutter. If you have ever looked into laser cutters, there are tabletop laser cutters, but they're not enclosed. So it's basically like a little open frame, and the laser just shoots down onto the tabletop, and you have to have stuff under there, and it's a whole thing. But with this laser cutter, it's completely enclosed. There's a bottom, there's a top, the laser is protected, and that is really fantastic. Especially for me personally, I have cats, and I would not be comfortable with having one of those kind of open air tabletop frames as a laser cutter. I would be very nervous to use something like that, but with this, it's completely enclosed, so my cats can't get in there when the laser cutter is going, right? So that's very, very important. I think that's really great. It's really great for anyone that has children as well. So they have a 5-tier safety list of things that they have put into place. And I'm going to mention those here real quick, okay? Because that's very, very important. So on the inside of the machine, they have these little sensors that are inside. It's a flame sensor. So if those little sensors go off and sense that there's a flame going on in there, if something somehow catches fire, which is important if you're working with fabric, it will completely shut off the machine and it'll stop working. So I think that is super fantastic. Keep a fire extinguisher nearby just in case, you know, just in case. But that's really great. I really like that feature, and it can really put your mind at ease with fire danger. Another thing that I really like is the lid. So the lid serves a couple of purposes. See how it's a beautiful orange color? I love this color. This machine also comes in a black and green color combo. So the base is black and here is black, and then the lid is green, but I really like the white and orange. The lid protects your eyes from the laser. I still would not recommend just staring straight at the laser for like a half an hour. That might be a little overkill. That might not be great for your eyes. But because of this lid that it's opaque, it protects your eyes from the light of the laser. So that's one thing that it does. But it also, when it's closed, then the laser can do its thing, right? But if this lid is open, even just like a little crack, the laser will not work. So it has to be closed all the way for it to work. So again, if you had this open and somehow a pet or a child accidentally pushes the button, which the start button is right here on the front, they push the button, it's not going to accidentally start going. You're not accidentally going to laser off your cat's tail, oh goodness, or anything like that. So that's a really great feature, and I'm really glad that that's in place. Something else that the machine has is it has a tilt and impact detector. So if it feels like it gets bumped, it has detectors on it so that it'll just shut off. You're not going to have some kind of accident. If somehow the table gets tilted up or a child is running by and bumps it, the laser's not just going to keep on going. It's going to stop. Your work in there isn't going to get ruined from something getting bumped and shifted inside. So that is another fantastic feature. You can tell when they were designing this that they were really thinking of the different scenarios that could happen and how to protect the people and the projects that they're working on, right? And I really appreciate that. There's also, if you ever need to emergency shut this off, there is a button, a big red button back here on the back that you just push in and it shuts the whole thing off completely. So that's really nice. Emergency button is always good to have, and it's easy to reach. The last feature that they have in kind of their safety protocol that I want to mention is the removable key. So there is a little dongle that you plug into the back of the machine. So this makes the laser work. So if this is not plugged into the machine, the laser will not work. Even if it's closed, turned on, and someone pushes the button, it will not work if this is in there. And this is a really good thing to note if you have small children that like to play around in your work area. So if you have any kind of worry about them coming in and messing around with the machine, just remove this when you're done with it and put it someplace where they won't find it. They don't know that that goes in there, all right? So that is another really great safety feature. So if you're ever worried about it, just remove that and you're fine. Just remember where you put it. But the machine did come with 2 of these, so just in case you lose one. So what else came with the machine when I got it? So I got this air assist, which is really nice. It helps kind of pump the air out because when you're cutting stuff, no matter what you're cutting, some smoke kind of occurs in there, okay? And it is a little stinky. I will be 100% honest. It is a little stinky, even with the air assist. That's actually why I have the cutter out in my building right now and not in my house, because I tried it in the dining room and it was just a little too stinky, even with the air assist. So what this does is it just kind of helps pump the air out, and it has different settings, or you can just set it to auto. I just have mine set to auto, so it will do its thing when it needs to do its thing. Also, when I got this, I got the honeycomb workspace. So that's this thing. And this is really nice, specifically for those of us that are using fabric. Because what you can do is you lay the fabric on top of the honeycomb, and then we also got some magnets that stick to the honeycomb, and it kind of holds the fabric in place for when it's getting cut. So, and I'll show you how to do that later, but that's really nice. Just carefully put this in here, place it back in, and close it up. So that's what I got. It's been a lot of fun so far, a little stressful because I didn't quite know what I was doing, but it was a really fun thing to learn how to use, and I'm really excited to show you guys what we can do with it. Those are the accessories that I got with mine. There are many other accessories that you can get. Like I said before, there are several different interchangeable laser heads that you can get. There are also, what's really cool is a riser base. So you can engrave or cut items that are a specific thickness. With a riser base, you can engrave and cut much thicker items. So that's an option if you want to engrave on, you know, kind of like maybe like jewelry boxes or something, or if you have something thick that you want to cut through, then the riser base might be a good choice for you. Also, you would need the riser base if you want to get their conveyor feeder system, which is really cool. So just as is, the workspace in here is about 24 inches by 15 inches, I do believe. But it's a nice big space. But with their conveyor system, you can put things through here that are, you know, 24 inches wide by, I think it's 118 inches long. So they actually have a conveyor system that will feed something through the machine. The back of the machine will open and you can just feed it through, which is really cool if you want to make large signs out of wood or metal or acrylic, whatever. So I thought that was really cool. Another accessory that they have is a rotary attachment. So if you want to engrave on mugs or, you know, like Yeti cups, things like that, you can do that with that accessory. So there's so many options and so many things that you can do. I just think this is such a great option for the multi-passionate crafter, you know, like me. Because I love quilting, but I also love trying out new crafts. And with this, I'm going to be able to do that in a really fun way. And I'm really excited to show you the other things that I'm planning on making with this. But today we are focusing on applique for quilters, okay? They like to boast that they have the industry's most accurate positioning method. So this is really cool. Some laser cutters have an actual camera inside, and you would kind of think, okay, if it has a camera where it can help you position your items, that's going to be the most accurate, right? but I guess with the camera, there can be some deficiencies. But with their positioning system, they actually have this little pin that attaches to the laser. So, and it's just magnetically attached. So it can pop off if it needs to. So this is their pinpoint positioning tool, and that just attaches to the head. The machine will actually, it uses this pin to figure out how thick your material is. So that helps with the positioning and figuring out the distance for your material, which is really cool. Then when you actually go to, when you want to figure out where to place your design on the material that's in there, it's a really easy process. I will show you that on my computer in a little bit, and that's really neat. They have, you know, different shapes that you can use to figure out the shape of your item. So they have a rectangle, a circle, and a polygon. So you can really hone in on what shape you're using. So then it's easier to position your actual designs on the material that's inside your workspace. Hopefully that makes sense. It'll make sense when I'm actually showing it to you. You can also engrave on curved items, which is unique for laser cutters. I think that's usually kind of difficult to do, but you could put a plate or a bowl inside and it would be able to engrave and be able to kind of figure out where the different levels of the material is. So that's really, really cool. And yeah, again, I just think this is such a great beginner-friendly laser cutter. So without further ado, let's just jump into making some applique pieces, okay? So I've already got my settings set on my computer. As you can see on a screen, I'm going to be kind of switching back between showing my computer screen and showing what I'm actually doing here on camera, okay? So I've got my settings set. I've got my distance set, which is the distance between the laser and the material. That kind of helps the laser work properly, is figuring out the correct distance. So you have to do that. And I actually do that. I did that using the feature of the pinpoint positioning. So that was very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up here. I have my cable to plug into my computer so we can connect the computer and the machine. I got to plug the key back in. Then I turn the machine on. I've got the machine on. I'm making sure that my air assist is on, just in case I turned it off. It is on, and it's set to auto. That's the setting I like to use it at. I have my little circles here on this screen for the center of my flowers, which I have this cute yellow fabric is going to be the center of the flower. Then for the actual flowers, they're kind of like a little, I don't know, a little sunburst looking thing. But I'm using this really cute orange gingham fabric for that. And then for the leaves and the wreath, I'm using some beautiful, like, foresty green. So that's going to look really nice. And on all of this fabric on the back, I have pressed on some Heat and Bond Light, which is going to help with the applique, right? So Heat and Bond is an iron-on adhesive. I leave on the paper for the cutting process. And then once the pieces are cut, then you can peel the paper off and iron the applique pieces directly onto your background. So let's go ahead and we'll cut the green. How about that? Because that's kind of the bigger piece. So I am going to go ahead. I need to get everything situated. So I'm going to first put my material into my machine, and I just place it on, I got to move this back a little bit here. I just place it onto the honeycomb here. And here I have my little magnets. The machine comes with 4 of these, and this little magnetic part just kind of goes down in the honeycomb, and then the little arm holds the corner. So there's a little arm that holds it, and then I'm just going to do the same thing for all 4 corners just to hold everything in place like that. Because the corners do kind of want to curve up, so these are very helpful to use with fabric. So now I need to figure out my distance. So I need to move my laser over on top of the material that I need to check the distance for. Make sure that you do that first. Move the laser over the material. Then you want to click the little auto measure, the little ruler that's next to the distance box. So I click that. It's resetting itself here. Okay. And now it's going to check. Found it. And now it's just resetting itself. So now we've got my distance. Very cool. So the distance for this is 0.625 inches. So that works. Next, I need to figure out my marking. So mark processing area. So what this does is it lets you create an outline of how big your material is. So I am going to come over here to my computer here, and I'm going to click Start Marking. Then it gives me some options of what type of shape I want to do, and I want to do rectangle because my fabric is, well, my fabric's a square, but rectangle is what I want to use. And then click Marking. Now it just says mark 2 points on different horizontal lines to form a rectangle. So I just go to the top left corner with my tool, and I don't know if you can see, but there is a little red X there, and I'm going to use that to mark my corner. I'm going to go like that. So mark our first corner, and then you have to push the button on the machine to mark it. So the first point was marked. Then I move the tool down to the right bottom corner to mark that corner, and then I again push the button. And now, as you can see on my computer screen, we've got our square marked. So I'm going to end marking and click done. So now we've got our square. So now I just need to move my shapes over to the square and position it just so so it fits. Wow, this is cutting it close here, isn't it? Moving it up just a little bit. All right, those will all fit. So now that we have everything positioned, now we need to make sure that the parameters are set correctly. So what that means is we want to use the correct power and the correct speed for what we're working with here. And I have figured out with my applique pieces, so what's got the heat and bond and quilting cotton, I have figured out for me, for the cut feature, so we select cut because we're cutting, I use a power of 72 and a speed of 10. So we go nice and slow. Okay, so I set that for those, and then I also need to set it for this because they're two different pieces here. So again, set this at 72 and set this at 10. And yours might be a little bit different, so you might have to play around with that a little bit, but that's what I figured works for my machine and the materials that I'm using. We are ready to cut. I'm going to come down here to go to process. And here it shows me the path that the laser is going to take. Pretty cool. And it says down here it's going to take about 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close the lid because the lid has to be closed to work, right? And then I'm going to come up and click the start up in the right-hand corner on my screen. All right, it is ready. Now I just push the start button. Okay, it's done. So I will open up my lid here and carefully push this back. And look at that, stuff got cut out. So there is our wreath, right? There's that piece. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the magnets here. And look at those cute little leaves. This would have taken so long to cut out by hand. And there's that. And I will keep this and we can use this for something else. So don't throw out your fabric that you don't use. It can be used for something else. And there's all of our little leaves that we cut out. So there it has the paper on the back. So then when we go to stick this to our background fabric, we just peel the paper off and it's good to go. So I'm gonna set these aside and let's cut out our other pieces. And I'm gonna use the exact same settings for the other fabrics also. Hang tight and I'm going to cut the rest of those pieces. And then you can see the finished product. All right, we've got all of our pieces cut. I am just going to lay it out here so you can see. Here's my background square that I'm using. And then there's our little wreath. And how cute did these flowers turn out? So just to give you an idea what it'll look like before I press it, which I will do here in a minute. There's our little circles for our center. Those cut super fast. And then our little leaves will be dispersed through like that. So that is pretty neat. I mean, if I were to sit down and try to cut all these pieces by hand, that would take, I don't know, probably at least an hour. But doing this, it really only took me a few minutes because I set the machine and then while the machine was working, I was able to answer emails or reply to messages on social media. So this is really a huge time saver, especially for quilters, I do believe. That'll kind of be what it'll look like. But isn't that cute? I love it. Yay, it worked. So I'm gonna take this over to my ironing board and just press everything down real quick, just so you can see the finished block. And then I'm gonna give my final thoughts on this machine and if I think it's worth it. All right, there we have it. What do you guys think? Pretty cool, right? Here is the finished block. Oh goodness. How cute is that? I almost want to do a few more leaves kind of and maybe disperse them out in the corners or maybe another flower or something. I'll figure out something for this block, but this is going to be, I'm going to use this for some kind of decoration for my studio. Since I made it out here, I really should make it for the studio, right? This is like the tip of the iceberg of what this machine can do. Appliqué is a really great way to use the machine for a quilter, and I really hope you consider getting one of these machines, especially if you are a multi-passionate crafter like me, because you can use this for so many different things. You can make gifts with it, you know, those personalized things that you can buy. You can use this machine to personalize so much stuff. It can score, it can engrave, it can cut hundreds, if not thousands of different materials. It's just so cool. And it's a great entry level. It's not ridiculously expensive. And if you have the space for one, it is a little big for a tabletop, but compared to the huge CO2 laser cutters, this is so great. Super easy to use. So I think you guys can tell that I think this would be worth it. I think it's really a really neat machine, and I was ridiculously excited when they reached out to me to send me one. This was our first project with the S1 laser cutter. I can't wait to do more. I think this is just going to be a really cool new tool that I'm going to be able to use to make even cooler quilts and designs and all kinds of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a good look at the machine from a sewing / quilter's perspective. And I just had a lot of fun shooting this and showing you what this machine is capable of. So if you would like to check out the machine, I have a link down in the description box below for the machine, and then also just for xTool's website, because they have several other machines. This isn't the only one. So they have several others, different price points, different bells and whistles. So go ahead, click that link and just check it out. You never know what you might find, right? Thank you so much, xTool, for sending me this and letting me use it and try it out. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any comments or questions down in the comments below. I'd love to answer questions as best I can about the machine. And I just thank you for watching till the end of this video. Have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.